The Narváez expedition versus the indigenous tribes from 1527 to 1528. The bulk of the events take place in modern-day Florida, specifically in Tampa Bay and the Appalachian Territories in northwest Florida, later expanding to the Gulf of Mexico and the surrounding areas. What was the cause of the event and why did it take place? The 16th century was a critical period of time for Spanish colonization. Shortly after successfully overthrowing the Aztecs in 1521, the Spanish expand their exploration further into the Americas, this time taking a hold of La Florida, what is now considered modern-day Florida. Their motivation was driven by the need to expand their riches, as gold was heavily abundant during this time and so were the other natural resources. Food was plentiful and also a source of motivation, along with enslaving people for labor and the land territory. They were also driven by competition and wanting to claim the land long before the English could. What were the events that unfolded? By 1528, when they arrived on indigenous occupied soil in Florida, Narváez had ordered half of his troops to sail along the coast and meet up with the other half of his soldiers when they returned with the goods. He and his army marched inward, expecting advanced buildings and civilizations, but instead he saw small villages dispersed throughout the land. The tribes that occupied this land were the Timucua, Karankawa, and most notably the Appalachian, who would ultimately be their demise. The Spanish initially had some luck in gathering resources, but as they made their way into the Appalachian territory, they were ambushed by the fierce warriors and attacked using the hit-and-run method and also the handmade weaponry such as arrows. Due to their extensive land knowledge, they were able to outsmart the Spanish and wear them out, ironically slaving some of their people and starving them. About 240 men got to make an escape on handmade rafts ordered to them to be made by Narváez, but most died at sea from hunger, sickness, infection, and shipwreck. Those who reached the land in the Gulf of Mexico eventually passed away from any cold, sickness, and the stormy weather. The short-term and immediate effects of this failed expedition were all of the men dying and no permanent settlements being made in that area. The long-term effects led to hesitation from the Spanish for future generations, especially in the surrounding area. The direct result? Future conquests and leaders strategizing different and new ways and importing newer policies going forward. They learned from the efforts of Narváez and his team and implemented what worked and leaving what didn't, making sure their future missions wouldn't take the same turn and go much more smoothly.